Have you been thinking about doing a yoga teacher training? Well, you're in luck. If you're in the Salt Lake City area, my MBODY Yoga School is offering a 200-hour in-person Vinyasa Yoga teacher training program. It begins January 21st, 2023 and runs through April 23rd. The cost is $900 for the entire course. We will use the 8 limbs of yoga as our foundation for learning about yoga history, philosophy, anatomy, ethics, and practice. You'll learn how to teach sequence yoga classes by the end of the training. You'll also be a registered yoga teacher under Yoga Alliance. If you're interested or know someone who might be, contact me, John Cottrell, at john@mbody.org. That's john@mbody.org. You can also visit my website, johncottrell.com, and visit the link to my upcoming yoga teacher training in 2023. Hi everyone, John Cottrell here of MBODY Yoga. Welcome to Soft Flow Yoga. This is a 60-minute gentle yoga practice. So for our practice today, I've called it How to Stretch Your Inner Thighs. So we're going to be working our inner legs, inner thighs. They tend to get a little bit tight, and so we want to do a gentle stretch and release, just to help mobility, flexibility, and just overall well-being. So for our prompts, you will need something soft that you can sit and kneel on. I just have my nice blanket here. You can use a towel. You can even double up on some yoga mats. Also grab some yoga blocks, something firm, yoga blocks or some hardbound books. And for one of our postures that we typically do, which is our hip opener, and it's cobbler's pose, you can also just use some small like sofa pillows, just those small pillows. And then maybe a nice bolster. And I think we will be using this today. So if you have a big cushion, big pillow from your sofa or bed, that we can use for our practice as well. Alrighty, that's it. So let's go ahead and begin. We'll start in our seated posture. So do sit comfortably. You can sit on your pillow or folded blanket or towel. Just want to make sure you're sitting up nice and tall. Just feel the fully extended spine. Maybe take a few deep breaths just to get tuned into your breath, to help your body settle into the space and fully arrive. Full and complete inhale, full and complete exhale. Then you can just settle into just slow, steady breaths. Continue to be mindful of your breathing, aware of how it sounds, aware of how it feels. As you're settling in, feel free to close your eyes if you'd like. You can just settle in and move inward, but you're also welcome to keep your eyes open. And if they are opened, just gaze forward or downward at the floor. Slow, steady breaths, listening to the sound, and feeling the breath as it moves through your entire body. This is a wonderful way to really tune in, to be fully aware and present. Setting the stage for our practice today. We'll be working our inner thighs, some stretching, lengthening, releasing any tightness if they feel bound up in any way. One of our featured poses will be frog pose. Now as you inhale, just want to feel the lengthening of your spine as your breath rises upward to fill your lungs. So a pretty expansive breath here. Energetic. Then as you exhale completely, draw your navel inward towards your spine. Just a pulling in feeling, not too strongly, just an awareness of your center. Again, as you inhale, just feel the lengthening of your spine, so you might even sit up a little taller in your seat. Breath filling up your lungs, so feel that nice expansiveness across your chest. And with your exhale, draw belly in. This is the abdominal lock, Uddiyana Bandha. Uddiyana just means inward and upward. Excellent. Take 3 more breaths like this. We'll add a very simple movement. As you inhale, extend your arms out and up. Fully reach, fully stretch all the way up. And exhale, let's bring the arms back down. Slowly, just following the exhale. Let's do that again. Inhale, extend your arms out and across the room, energetically reaching out and then eventually all the way up towards the ceiling. Exhale, keep that nice energy in the arms as you extend your arms out across the room. And then finish with your arms here at the bottom. Now continue moving and breathing at your own pace, reaching out and up, and then all the way back down with the arms. Now we're really following the breath. Arms are moving according to the breath. As you inhale, still feel the breath rising to fill up your lungs. Arms will rise. As we exhale, even though the arms are coming down, you want to keep that uplifting sensation of the breath. The breath is still up here in the lung space and heart space, and we keep that uplifting sensation when we exhale. When the arms come down, the exhale, we draw belly in. That's the lock. So it doesn't drop that energy that we're bringing upward to our heart space. Finish the breath that you're on and take 2 more breaths. Good. And when you're done, just bring your hands to your lap, just relax. Feel the shoulders relax. Good. While still seated, let's take our mild back bend. Just bring your hands behind you. Just prop yourself up onto the fingertips back here so that the arms feel very long. And just prop yourself up there and also draw the shoulders back so you feel a little bit more opening through the heart space. Now when we inhale, just press into the floor with the hands. Feel the energy shoot up the arms and shoulders, filling up your lungs with the breath. Exhale, draw belly in, connecting to your center, creating that abdominal lock. Again, energy into the ground as you inhale, breath rising, filling up your lungs. Feel that expansiveness across the chest. Exhale, draw belly in, and as you're able, squeeze your shoulder blades together behind you. So we feel this energy in the upper back as well as the low belly. 2 more breaths. You might even tip the chin up just a little bit, just to create all that wonderful space in the upper region of your torso. And then when we're down, we'll lower the chin. You can walk your hands towards yourself. Just sit up nice and tall. Arms just return to your lap, and just notice how the body shifts from that energetic engagement to a more relaxed sensation. We're going to move into our first cobbler's pose, and actually I'm going to turn to face you this time. So if your legs were crossed, go ahead and uncross the legs and bring the soles of the feet together like so. Now here's where you want to tuck something underneath the legs, and that could be the blocks or books or those small pillows. Just something that your legs can rest on. There we are, nicely situated. Just go ahead and hold on to your ankles or shins. You still want to sit up as tall as can be. Just hold here for a moment. So we're already starting to open up in the inner leg. So this is the focus of our practice, the inner thighs here. And this is a wonderful pose to work that part of the body. Cobbler's pose or bound angle pose. So you can scoop up the feet here, but when I'm scooping up the feet, I'm leaning forward. You probably can't tell. So I want to maintain a lifted, straight up and down body. So we're just going to hold on to the shins. So we're going to inhale and feel the lengthening of the spine. Exhale, draw belly in, and then hinge from the hips, leading with the heart and chin shifting or hinging forward just a little bit. So now we are at an angle like so, and trying to keep a straight spine at this new angle. You can stay just like this. You just want to feel something here in the inner legs, not too strongly, not too strenuous, but maybe a light stretch. I'm going to go a tiny bit more. So an inhale just to complete or continue actually the lengthening of the spine. Exhale, draw belly in for support as I hinge forward just a tiny bit more. Now I'm starting to feel a bit of sensation in the inner legs. It doesn't feel too strenuous at all, so I'm going to hold here. You want to be able to hold your postures in this soft flow practice. We like to hold our poses, but not to a point where you just feel exhausted. We don't want to stress out the body any more than it already gets stressed out. You just want to be in a pose, be able to feel comfortable. You can still breathe normally and deeply, just like this. Let's take 3 more breaths. After that 3rd breath, we're just going to hinge our way back up so you're nice and tall. We're going to do a little something different here. Let's go ahead and remove our props out from underneath the legs. So there should be some space perhaps between the floor and your legs. Just go ahead and hold on to your ankles here. I'm just going to do a gentle bounce. I'm just letting the knees, the legs kind of bounce up and down. That's affecting kind of the hip sockets here and a little bit in the inner legs. It's a very gentle release. Okay, without feeling like you're straining the body at all. How about 5 more? 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. That's it. Very good. Very simple, but very effective. All right, let's make our way to hands and knees here. Just move our blanket so we have some padding underneath us, like so. And just forming this nice tabletop. Let's take cat and cow, starting with cow pose. It's an inhale to create the back bend. Just lift the head, look forward. Feel like your heart is moving forward. We create a back bend or an arch in the back as the pelvis tips back. That's the inhale. Then exhale. Scoop the pelvis underneath. Pull the belly button up towards the spine. Feel that natural curvature of the spine. Chin drops down towards chest. That's cat. Let's reverse it. Inhale, feel the pelvis tip back. You might even feel the belly relax and drop. There's our back bend. Heart opens, look forward. Exhale, round it all out. Now I'm going slowly to help break it down, but you can go at your own pace here. Remember, it's the breath that is moving you. Breath is moving you. So really pay attention to the energy of the breath and how that energetic breath moves the body. Finish the breath that you're on, and we'll take 2 more. Now, one of our featured poses is frog pose. And we're going to do something here just to start to set ourselves up for frog pose. Again, I'm going to face you once again, because at the moment on hands and knees, my shoulders are right over the wrists. You can't see it, but my hips are right over the knees. But what I'm going to do is actually take the legs or knees a little wider. Let me just sit back so you can kind of see. So I've taken the legs wider here, but I'm still on hands and knees. And I'm just kind of actually just going the length of my blanket right here. So my knees are still on something soft. And that's all I'm doing, is just taking the legs a little wider. Now when we get into frog pose, imagine the legs are out much wider, which is really going to stimulate the inner legs. Here is just an introduction to that progression. Let's take 3 more breaths, just holding. Very gentle. Taking small steps, short progressions. Alrighty, bringing the legs together. It's going to turn this way. All right, let's get ready for downward facing dog. We can move our prop out of the way. Come back to hands and knees. Here our setup is step the hands forward, spreading out your fingers so your fingers are wide. You might even feel a stretch between each finger. Press your palms into the mat to flatten the palms. Get a nice stretch for the hands. As you press down into the ground, feel the energy of the strong, straight arms. Now tuck your toes. Inhale into cow pose when you lift your head, create the back bend, and then exhale into cat pose. Holding cat, rounded spine, belly button pulling up towards spine. With that, lift your knees off the mat, hips float up into the air. And that should automatically extend the spine. Now we're in downward facing dog. I adjusted my feet. I like to take them a little wider, and I actually tiptoed forward a little bit. You can even do the same with the hands. Maybe take them a little wider to provide a little bit more space for your neck and shoulders. Do put a good bend in your knees so that your hips feel more mobile and they can lift up a little higher. Really feeling the good extension through the torso. From down dog, take a few steps forward until maybe you're standing in the center of your mat and your feet are flat on the mat. And then just slide your fingertips toward your toes. This is forward fold. Inhale, slide your hands up to your shins or knees. Hold here in this halfway position. This is half forward fold. And now we want to stay just like this. Feet are firm on the ground, solid. Knees are bent. Almost feels like I'm trying to sit back, really feeling my hips and tailbone move to the back of the room, or the top of my head or my crown is moving to the front of the room. Activate that with an inhale to feel the extension. Exhale to engage and support your body in place. Inhale to lengthen. Exhale, engage. One more. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, engage. With that engagement, you might even feel this in your legs. That feels nice, your core. Now shift your weight more into your heels so your toes are light and you can tap them. Bend your knees like you're going to sit down into a low chair. Start lifting your chest. Take your arms out to the side and then stand up until you're tall as can be. Let's go ahead and take the arms up into the air. And exhale, bring your arms down to your side. And here we are in mountain pose. Let's just hold here for a moment. Maybe just circle the wrists, wiggle your fingers, because we had some work where we're just on our hands. So a lot of force flexing, and that can fatigue the wrists. You can even flip the wrists and hands the other way. And the circles are nice. Maybe get into your elbows, circles here, and then the shoulders. Circle the shoulders back a few times, and then forward a few times. Very good. All right, let's continue. Let's do our half salute to the sun when we fold forward and then come back up. Take our time. Here we go. Inhale, take both arms up into the air. Nice lengthening of the sides of the body. Exhale, fold forward. Good hinge from the hips. Bend your knees. Make your way down towards toes. You don't have to touch your toes here. Inhale, slide your hands up to your shins or knees. Hold here on the exhale, long flat back. Let's just take a breath or two here to help you settle. Firm feet on the floor, soft knees. Inhale to lengthen. Exhale to engage. Now shifting weight into the heels, toes can tap. Bend your knees, feel like you're sitting down into a chair. Lift your chest, spread your wings and float all the way up to standing. Extended mountain pose with the arms all the way up into the air. Exhale, arms return to your side. Perfect. Roll the shoulders again. Backward, forward. Elbows, and then back to the wrists and fingers. Very nice. Alrighty, let's do our variation of Warrior 1. And actually we're going to take it right into Warrior 2, because Warrior 2 is also going to get into the inner legs. Alright, we're going to break it down. We're going to do this first version, and then of course we'll do a second version once we get into the vinyasa. All right, standing in mountain pose, balanced on 2 feet. Let's soften the knees so we're not locking out the knees. Start shifting your weight into your right foot. Press firmly down into the floor with that right foot. You'll feel the thigh muscle engage. I'm going to lean forward a little bit. You'll feel the toes grip the mat. And I should be able to lift my left foot and just tap it back. I actually just lifted the heel and just tapping the foot back like so. So the heel lifted, toes flexed, until it just stops. Alrighty, and then turn that leg outward or pivot, and then shift and settle, ground it on both feet, especially that back foot. We just set that heel down. Knees are bent. Place your hands on your hips, push downward, and then feel the torso lift upward. We're just trying to make some space in the belt line, right there. So we are able to then turn to face mostly forward. Now, inhale, extend both arms up into the air. Exhale, bend elbows so they're at 90 degrees. Right there. Let's just hold that for a moment. Feeling fairly strongly balanced, even though the feet are separated here, but there is a centering. We want to feel quite centered right here. Alrighty, let's bring the arms down because we're going to change this into a warrior two. We need a little bit more distance between the feet. So I'm just going to shift my weight forward into the front foot, pick up that back heel, and maybe just step back one step. That's all. Alrighty? And then all I'm going to do is take the arms up into the air. And when we exhale, turn your torso towards the left side of the room, and then bring the arms down to parallel. Now, I didn't turn all the way sideways. I'm kind of at an angle. That's fine for now. That's mainly because there's not a lot of distance between the feet, and it really just kind of depends where your feet are situated on the mat. All right, so the arms are extended initially, but let's go ahead and relax the arms here for a moment and pay attention to this front leg. We're going to really pay attention to it more once we get into the second version of this posture. Maybe look down at this knee. I'm already seeing my right knee feel like it's dipping to the inside or the left side of my mat. I actually want to feel like my knee is moving to the right side of the room over there. And I can see that my knee is nicely aligned right above the heel or ankle. That's the alignment we want to create. You want to feel like your knee and outer right thigh is moving to the right side of the room. Keep that energy. Maybe just press more into the floor with the foot. Feel the leg, feel like it's moving in that direction. Feel tall in the torso. Turn towards the left side a little bit and then re-extend the arms. Okay, again, we're paying attention to what's happening here in the inner right leg. It may not be much right now, but once we get into the second version, you'll really feel this. Again, let's bring the arms down. Turn to face forward. Shifting weight into this front foot so you can pick up that back heel, take as many steps as you need to bring it back together. Now inhale and take both arms up into the sky. Exhale, arms return to your side. Very nice. Let's do the other side. Mountain pose balanced on 2 feet, soft knees, shifting weight now into your left foot, press into the floor. Strong thigh, feel tall, inhale. Exhale, draw belly in for support. I'm leaning forward, the toes are gripping. I'm picking up that right heel, tapping the foot back on the toes until it just stops. Not very far back. Pivot so I can press that right heel, that whole foot into the floor, shifting so I'm centered. Keep that nice bend in the knees. Let's place hands on hips, push pelvis down, feel tall. There's our space so we can turn to face mostly forward. Here's our variation of warrior one. Inhale, reaching both arms up. Exhale, bend elbows to 90 degrees. Hold here. Deep breaths. When we get to the second version of this pose, this too will feel different. You might even feel this a little bit more in the right leg, or the leg that's behind you, I should say, because we'll be getting into the hip flexor, okay, kind of the front and upper portion of the thigh. All right, let's go ahead and inhale, take the arms all the way up. Exhale, arms return to your side for a moment. Let's get ready for our warrior two. So we're going to lean forward and put some weight and pressure on this front foot. Pick up that back heel. I'm just going to take one more step back. That's all. Inhale, take both arms up. Exhale, start turning your torso towards the right side of the room until it just stops. Bring your arms down to parallel. And just reach for a moment. Alrighty? Now, again, I'm not completely sideways. I'm more at an angle. That's fine for now. Go ahead and relax the arms. Let's pay attention to this left leg again. All right, this one feels a little bit different. But my other leg, my right leg, was kind of dipped to the inside. This feels a little bit more aligned, but I want to energize it. Feel like the left knee and outer left thigh are moving to the left side of the room. Put some more emphasis and energy in the leg just by pressing the foot firmly into the ground. Outer thigh and knee moving to that left side. There it is. I can feel the energized leg. Nice and tall. Again, let's inhale, take the arms up. Exhale, reopen towards the right side of the room. Arms come down to parallel. Very strong energy in this left leg. Thinking about paying attention to the inner left leg. It's engaged. It's actually strengthening here. Very good. Let's go ahead and relax the arms. We'll turn to face forward. We'll lean into this left foot. pick up the right foot and just tap it forward until we have brought the feet together. Inhale, extend both arms up into the sky. Exhale, arms return to your side. And that's it. All right, let's move into our sun salutation. We're still breaking things down. Inhale, extend the arms out and up. Exhale, spread your wings. This time, sit back as if you're sitting back and down into an imaginary chair. Bring your arms down, keep folding until your hands maybe land at your shins or maybe lower. Drop your head so that your head and neck feel loose. Then inhale, slide your hands up the legs to re-extend your spine, long, flat back. Exhale, bend your knees more, just slide down the legs, let the back round. Let your head go heavy, low enough into your hands, or at least your fingers can come to the floor and start walking the feet back until you get to the back end of your mat. And as best as you can, draw a straight line like this. This is plank pose. We'll breathe in. Exhale, bend your knees a whole lot, but send your hips up into the air for downward facing dog. Don't forget to step forward a little bit. That might help. Even take the feet a little wider, maybe the hands a little wider. From here, let's inhale, extend right leg up into the air. Let's hold. Really press the hands firmly into the floor, arms feel strong. The right leg is lifted, as straight as can be, but does have to lift high. Does not need to lift high. Just strong and straight. But then bend the right knee. We're going to do something a little different than usual. Bend the knee, bring the heel down towards your backside, and then try lifting the knee up towards the ceiling. It's going to create a bit of a twist in your torso, but you're opening your hip. So we're getting into the inner thigh a little bit. We're going to unwind this. Shift your whole upper body forward so your shoulders are aligned over your wrists. We're going to set the right foot down. Just your toes, heel lifted. Set the left knee down. All right, I'm just going to pull the weight back. Some less weight is in my hands. I'm going to pick up my right hand, go get my right foot, picking up through the ankle, and bring it up to the top of the mat or closer to my right hand. Let's re-lift the left knee, pivot or turn left heel to the floor. We need to shift the body weight back so we find our center. Now we're getting to our second version of Warrior 1 and second version of Warrior 2. More distance between the feet, but we still need to find that centering. I like to rise up onto fingertips to help extend spine here. Facing elongated forward. My crown or the head is pointing in the same direction as my toes. Driving this foot into the floor, strengthening the leg, hinging from hips, rising up. Let's take the arms all the way up into the air. Here's our Warrior 1. Let's hold for a moment. Because of the wider stance and the arms straight up, you might feel this in the left hip flexor. This is what I was talking about. Okay, that lengthening stretch quality. Now it does affect the inner leg too, so that's why we want to stretch that part. All right, let's look down at this right knee. Make sure it stays pointing forward as we make this transition to Warrior 2. In fact, as we open up to Warrior 2, you want to feel like your right knee and outer thigh are moving to the right side of the room. Here we go. Breathe in, reach up. Exhale, slowly turn your torso towards the left as your knee and thigh are moving to the right. Arms come down to parallel. I'm really pressing firmly into the floor with this front foot. I feel this leg fired up. Because we have a wider stance, I'm feeling a little stretch and strengthening sensation in the inner thigh. But mainly keeping this nice alignment of knee over heel or ankle. That's our pose. We're going to go a little further or just add a bit to it by shifting forward a little bit like this. Rotate the arms. Now your hand or your forearm, just brace it against the inner leg. You're just encouraging that leg to continue moving to the right side of the room. Meanwhile, the left hand is reaching straight up into the air. And as an added piece, imagine you're wearing a belt and you feel like your belt is going forward towards me. So push. So you're moving in all these opposite directions. Your knee and thigh are going that way to the right. belt buckles going forward or to the left side of the room. Breathe in. Exhale, carefully turn. Maybe bring both hands to your thigh, turning your torso forward here. And we're just going to guide our way down. Bring your hands to the floor. Rise up onto your tiptoes behind you. Press firmly into the mat with the hands, strong straight arms. Even lift the hips into the air a little higher if you're able. That just lightens that right foot so you can slide it back into plank. Let's rest. Bring the knees to the floor. Sit back briefly in hero. Actually, let's take the half hero where you tuck the toes and just sit back just to get the pressure off the hands. You can even do that gentle massage here for the tops of the hands here if you'd like. And we'll get ready for the other side. So we did Warrior 1 and Warrior 2, emphasizing the hip flexor in Warrior 1 and the inner thigh in Warrior 2. Hands out front. Spread out your fingers. Press firmly into the floor with the hands, strong arms. Tuck your toes. Exhale into cat. Lifting knees, hips, straighten the spine. Keep the knees bent. Make sure the hands feel strong. Now, inhale, extend left leg into the air. Just really extend. Doesn't have to lift high. We're going to open the hip here. Bend your knee. Left knee, bring your heel down towards your backside, lifting the knee up towards the ceiling a little bit. You'll feel the torso turn a bit to the left side, concentrating on the hip with that knee lifting into the air. Let's unwind it. Shift your whole upper body forward so your shoulders are over your wrists. We'll set this left foot down, doesn't matter where. We're bringing the right knee down. Shift back to get the weight off the hands. We'll use this left hand to go get the left foot. Bring it up near the top of the mat, creating distance between the feet. We're lifting the right knee, pivot, or turn right heel to the floor. I like to step the hands back, rise up to fingertips. I'm lifting the torso, elongating through the torso. Again, the crown of the head's pointing in the same direction as the toes. Check alignment here. Left knee over ankle, root into the floor with the foot. This should fire up the leg. Start to hinge. Now you could bring both hands to your thigh just to assist your body standing, facing forward. Let's bring both arms up into the air. Good extension of arms up, maybe a deeper lunge. Feel what's happening in the right leg, the right hip flexor. That stretch, affecting also the inner thigh. All right, let's get ready for that Warrior 2. Remember, we're going to be turning the torso to the right side of the room, but pay attention to what's happening with this left leg. As we turn to the right, we want to feel the left knee and thigh move to the left, just to keep the alignment and the stretch quality in the inner left leg. Inhale, reach up. Here we go. Exhale, turn torso slowly to the right. Feel like your knee and left thigh are moving to the left side of the room, opening up. There it is. I can feel this. I can feel the pressure of the left foot pressing into the floor. I can even check it out to make sure there's a nice alignment. Energy of this knee and thigh moving to the left side as my torso is facing the right side. Let's take our side angle, reach forward a bit. Let's rotate the arms. Left hand or the forearm, just depending on how low you are. Just encourage this left leg to continue moving to the left side. Right hand reaching straight up. Very good. Inhale here. And the exhale is going to bring the arms down. Turn to face forward, both hands on thigh. Start to fold slowly and carefully. Your torso might even rest on the thigh for a moment. That's great. Bring the hands down to the floor. Rise up onto tiptoes behind you. If you're sinking, it's going to be hard to pull this left foot back. So you want to feel the hips lift as best as you can. Use your hands. Press firmly into the floor. Strong arms, hips lifted. More space so the left foot can pull back. Hold. And now we'll bring knees to the ground. Let's take that half hero. Tuck your toes and sit back a little bit just to get the pressure off the hands. Circle the fingers or wiggle the fingers, circle the wrists. Alrighty, let's take our bridge pose. Let's go ahead and sit off to the side. Let's get our blocks handy. Sit in the center of your mat. Roll down onto your back. Again, just make sure your blocks are nearby or your books. Let's bring the knees into chest. We're going to do a couple things here. First, we just like to bring the knees in and do a gentle massage just by moving. Just move in a way that just feels natural to you. And then we're going to take a hip opener. Now it's going to mimic frog pose. We haven't gotten to frog pose yet, but think of the frog lying on its back. Okay, and that's what we're going to do here. Okay, flex the feet lightly, holding onto the shins or knees, and start taking the legs wide, like they were frog's legs. So imagine you were a frog just lying on its back. Now here's the little emphasis part. Not too strongly with the hands. Let's bring them to the inside of the knees. Even if gently feel like you're pushing the legs outward, okay, out away from your midline, but then gently pressing down towards the floor. Gently press out, down, out, down. Now, once you got to a place where, okay, I feel that, then stop. Take some deep breaths. So we're getting closer to that frog pose, which is actually going to be on our bellies, okay? So think of a frog just on its 4 feet, okay? But now we got the frog on its back, stretching the inner legs. Okay, using the hands, just bring the knees together. Let's set the feet onto the floor. Now your feet and knees can be hip distance apart, but I like to take my feet a little wider, actually much wider, to create more space in the hips and low back so that the hips can actually lift a little higher. They just have more space, like you can say, as you lift and then get the blocks underneath you. All right, inhale. Make sure you've got your blocks. Exhale, engage your core. Now lift your hips just high enough so you can get your props underneath you. And then sit. We're going to do a couple things here. First, we'll just relax for a few moments in our bridge pose so we get this nice opening for the whole front body. Arms can just rest on the floor. Again, I like to take my legs wide. Go ahead and take your legs wide and just see how this feels, because we're actually going to do another sensation here. We will need to take the legs a little wider to do that. But mostly just relaxed as we sit with the hips lifted up off the floor on our props, and take some deep breaths. Three more breaths here. We're going to prepare for a slightly deeper, perhaps a little bit more intense inner leg stretch. And I'm saying intense, but we still don't want to strain or push ourselves too far. So be very mindful of how this might feel for you. I'm on 2 blocks, only because my blocks are thin. Now, if you're on 2 blocks and you feel quite high, you can always remove one of the blocks just to lower the hips a little bit. Once you've done that, let's bring the feet together, legs together. Then maybe the inside edges of your feet touch, but then let the legs fall open naturally outward. Alrighty? Now, because the hips are up, that means we're farther away from the floor, lots of distance between the knees and the floor. The soles of my feet are touching. And now because of gravity is really pulling on those legs out and down, which does affect the inner legs. That's the intensity. Now we don't need to hold this too long. We don't want to overstretch, nor do we want to over pull, right? That part of the body. So let's go ahead and come back up onto the feet right there just to soften. Alrighty, so that too is also getting us ready for our frog pose, because it will have that slight intensity in the inner legs, but keep it gentle and even keep it short. Let's lift the hips up off the blocks, slide the blocks out from underneath you, come back down to the ground. Lengthen the legs out front, Extend the arms behind you, reach and stretch. Hug the knees into your body. We're going to carefully roll to one side. Use your hands and press yourself up to seated. Let's come back to our cobbler's pose or bound angle. We did this earlier. We're just going to come back to it because your legs have already done some work. They've done some strengthening in the lunges and some stretches in that last kind of frog-like position. Let's come back to seated here. We're going to come back to that slight bounce, maybe 10 to 15 times here, getting into the hips a little bit, and we're going to do a forward fold. Let's go ahead and brace or support our legs with our pillows, books, or blocks right there. Hold on to ankles or shins. Inhale to find that extended torso. Exhale, send heart and chin forward. Keeping the spine long initially. Now we're going to go a little bit deeper. Actually, I'm going to turn sideways for this so you can see this. Because at first you work with a lengthened spine, straight as can be at this angle. But then to go a little lower, just drop the chin a little bit towards the chest. Feel the natural rounding of the spine, which creates a bit more space. So you can go a little deeper without feeling like your body is forcing to go deeper. Okay, so this now affects the back in addition to the inner legs. Let's take some deep breaths here. So each movement, each thing we keep adding to our sequence here, we're just going a little further, a little deeper, but it's these nice, slow, gentle progressions. And that's really what our body appreciates. We don't have to force or go too fast to get into some of these poses, okay, or to find that flexibility and length and release that we desire. It's going to take some time, so it does take some patience. 2 more breaths. If your back is rounded like mine, you may want to lift your chin a little bit to re-extend the spine, and then hinge from hips to rise up until you're tall in your seat. And just hold here for a moment. Feel the re-extension of the spine. All right, let's get ready for our frog pose. Here, let's come to our hands and knees. A few things we want to get set up here. Let's see. I think a blanket across the mat will be helpful. And then, if you've got it, a big cushion right here. Now, remember when we came to our hands and knees like so, and then took the knees wide? Let's come back to that. So I'm just taking my knees right out to the edges of my blanket. And that's our initial pose, but we're going to go lower and a little bit deeper. But we're going to use the pillow or a big cushion if you happen to have it for a little support. So I'm just bringing it between the legs and taking the legs wider. And just resting my torso on the pillow so I feel more comfortable with my frog legs. So if you can see, maybe you can't see, but try to sense that your leg, the thigh part, is coming straight out from the hip to the knee, and that your knee to ankle is drawing a straight line with the shin and calf. And you're doing that with both legs as best as you can. I like to flex the feet here just slightly or lightly so the inside edge of the foot's on the floor. So you kind of make this little frog leg sensation. Now with the cushion or big pillow underneath you, you're much more supported. Now you certainly can do this without the support and just come down lower, deeper into the pose, but you might need to hold yourself up so you don't overdo it. So this is a great way to practice a stretch for the inner legs. And in this case, a variation of frog pose using a prop. I'm going to show you something else too, especially if you don't have the cushion underneath you. Let's take 2 more breaths. All right, if you are down low like this, maybe on your elbows, maybe come up onto your hands and press yourself up and then walk the legs in a little closer. If you do have that pillow or cushion, let's move it out of the way. Now I'm going to turn towards you because I'm going to take my legs a little wider. Now we're not using that support or that cushion underneath. Okay, I'm just taking it wide and I really have to support myself. I am coming down to my elbows here, but what I'm doing is actually just shifting forward and back, just to massage kind of the hip sockets there. All right, I'm going to turn sideways again this way. If you can get a sense of my hips going forward and back. Now I'm kind of doing it, I'm exaggerating this so you can see it, but this can be quite subtle. You might just be kind of in this more static space and just a gentle rock forward and back. In a way, it's mimicking or complementing. Remember when we were seated in cobbler's pose and doing the bounce of the legs? This complements that. Alrighty, now this is getting pretty intense. I can feel my body kind of tensing up a little bit or starting to fatigue. That's a good indicator to maybe come out of the pose. Come up onto your hands. Let's walk the knees in until your knees are underneath your hips. And while we're here, let's take cat and cow. So an inhale to lift head and heart, arching the back. Exhale, round it out. Let's do that several times. It's also a nice way to realign the body and also brings the hips kind of back to a neutral posture after they've been stretched a little bit. Finish the breath that you're on and take 3 more. And when you're complete, just pause in this neutral tabletop posture. We'll sit back into hero just very briefly so we can sit off to the side and swing the legs around to the front. I'm going to move my blanket out of the way for now. Sit in the center of your mat. Go ahead and roll down onto your back, and again, just hug the knees into chest. And a little massage here. All right, let's do another pose. You might be familiar with Happy Baby Pose. Happy Baby Pose is a wonderful hip opener, and we often do it with 2 feet or 2 legs. We're going to do it 1 leg at a time. So let's start by extending the right leg onto the floor, so it's straight on the floor. Let's take hold of the left knee and shin, just hug it in until it just naturally stops. Lightly flex the left foot, and then take the leg out to the side, kind of like that frog leg. We're just, again, that frog is on its back, okay? And what I've done here, I've just set the elbow and tricep on the floor and made like a tray with my hand, and my leg is just resting on that tray. Now that could be the end of the pose, but to take it a little further into half Happy Baby Pose, as you're able, we're going to slide this hand, left hand, up to the sole of the foot if you can reach it. If not, just grab hold of your ankle. Okay, and see if we can get the foot to face the ceiling and then gently press down so the knee feels like it's coming down towards the floor on this left side. And because we're doing 1 leg, it might even go a little deeper. Now, we don't want to force this, and we won't hold it very long. Just maybe 3 deep breaths. So half Happy Baby Pose affects that inner leg, maybe even the thigh, gets into the hips. Wonderful pose. And now we're going to bring this left foot to the inner right thigh, or maybe down by the knee, and let this knee, left knee, it's bent, just drop open to the floor. It's almost like you're in Shavasana, but we've just bent that left leg. And the foot, left foot, is facing or touching the inner right leg, knee opened or bent, pointing to the left side of the room. Just pause here for a moment. Okay, a nice gentle stretch of the inner left leg. Now imagine we were doing tree pose, which we did not do in this practice, but imagine we're doing tree, which was a standing balancing posture, because this is the same positioning. Now let's lift that left knee so it's pointing towards the ceiling, extend the leg. Hold for another few seconds here to realign the body. We'll do half happy baby pose on the right leg. Keeping the left leg straight on the floor. You might even gently flex the left foot to keep that leg energized. We'll draw that right knee into chest. We'll catch it in the hands. Okay, even pull it in a little closer until it naturally stops. Put a light flex in the right foot. Take that right knee out to the side. That's our one frog leg. And just set the elbow on the floor. Create a tray with the hand and let the knee or leg rest in the hand. Now you can hold that. This takes a little bit more energy, I think, of just holding it like this. Or take half happy baby pose. If you can reach the sole of the foot, grab it, or even just the ankle, kick it up in the air and just gently press down. Right now I'm just holding onto the ankle so you can see a variation if you can't reach the sole of the foot. Now what's nice here, well, what I should say is if you flex the left foot, keeping that left leg engaged, it just keeps that left side kind of fired up and working, and it might even keep you grounded on this one side. But since you're working this right side, and it's energetic there, if we loosened up the left side, we might kind of fall to the right, actually. So this keeps us pretty sturdy and in place. All right, let's soften this. We're going to bring that right foot to the inner left leg, knee coming down to the floor, kind of like a tree pose. And even just let the body relax here. Feel that natural release in the inner right leg. Three more breaths. And then we'll lift that right knee so it's pointing to the ceiling. Extend the leg. So we're in Shavasana, but we're not quite done yet. Let's finish with a twist. Let's bring both knees into chest. Finishing up our sequence by taking both knees over to the left side of the room, and as you're able, extending your right arm over to the right. Just settle into the rotation. Hopefully this feels nice on your low back. Let's take 3 more breaths here. And then we'll bring both knees back up to center. Just pause here for that nice realignment of the body. And then we'll take the knees over to the right side. Knees to the right, left arm to the left. Knees to the right, left arm to the left. Take some deep breaths. Even notice how the body is starting to feel a little bit more relaxed. Hopefully just moving through that entire practice, you really didn't get too tired, even though you were working hard and engaging and moving, but not to the point where you exhausted yourself. What we like to experience at the end of a practice, knowing that we worked, but also feel refreshed and rejuvenated. 3 more breaths. And then when you're ready, let's return to center, hugging the knees into the body for realignment. And then we'll extend the legs out front. Down onto the floor, arms can rest down by your side, perhaps with with your palms up. That way the shoulders kind of open up naturally, nice posturing even though you're lying on the ground. Now you're welcome to choose a different position for your resting sensation. So, because sometimes lying flat on your back on the floor isn't very comfortable, just depending on how you feel at the moment or how this affects your back or your hips. So here's some variations. So you might just bend your knees and just have your feet on the floor. For me, this actually feels more comfortable. If you want to have a little bit more support, I'm going to rock up here. If you've got that big pillow or cushion or something, you can just have a slight bend in the knees, okay, and just having your legs kind of drape over the pillow like this. And that too might allow the body to relax a little bit more completely. And again, if lying on your back is not comfortable today, maybe roll onto your side and lie on your side. Or you can even come up to a seated position and just sit in meditation for the remaining part of the practice. Wherever you are, you might close your eyes or gaze forward and gently with eyes opened. Return to the sensation of your breath. Be mindful of the energy, sound, and feeling of your breath. Stay focused on your breath. It's very easy to feel the mind just kind of wander away while we're relaxing here. You start thinking of things. And if that's the case, that's okay. That's very normal. Maybe just take a nice deep breath. Taking a deep breath just brings you back into the present moment. Kind of blows away that thought. Returns you to the here and now. You're welcome to stay here as long as you'd like, especially if you feel very comfortable. Just take advantage of this opportunity. Fully relax, letting go, disengaging. Little to no thought. Muscles are relaxed. Breathing is slow and deep. And again, you're welcome to stay here as long as you'd like. Even as I rise and end the practice, you're welcome to stay right where you are. And when you are ready to move, take your time. You might start with breath. Take 5 slow, deep breaths. Once again, bringing energy back into the breath, and that energetic breath moving through your entire body. Feeling movement slowly return to your body. When you feel ready, take your time. Try to move as slowly as possible. If you happen to be lying on your back, you might even just hug the knees into the chest, but you might just kind of step the feet closer to you as you bend the knees. Hug the knees in. Carefully roll to one side. Hold for a moment. And then press and lift yourself up to seated, still moving as slowly as you can. Perhaps bringing in something soft to sit on. And once you are in your seat, maybe with crossed legs, extend the spine, shoulders relaxed. Now your hands can remain in your lap or bring hands to heart center. Take one more full and complete breath. And as we come to the close of our practice together, we bow saying, Namaste. Thank you so much for watching and participating in this yoga lesson. To help us with the channel so we can continue to bring you more content, please like the video and subscribe to the channel. It's really appreciated. Namaste.